Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about the Doji candlestick. Now, the Doji candlestick is probably one of the easiest candlesticks to identify because of its shape and size. So what we're looking for when we're looking for a Doji candlestick is we're going to be looking for a really, really small body, all right? And what that's going to represent is neutrality or indecision in the market in that certain time frame, in that certain underlying. Okay, so when we're looking for that, we're looking for a really, really small body, and that's what you have right here. So what this represents is actually indecision in the market because we're closing right where we opened up. Okay, so really, even though this is a red candle, the bulls didn't really win, the bears didn't really win. You can see, even though we had all this volatility, with highs were up here, lows were all the way down here, we still closed right where we were. So this just represents sort of indecision in the market. All right, and this is actually considered a long-legged doji because of the length of this upper wick here and this lower wick down here. Because they're so long, therefore it is a long-legged doji rather than just a regular neutral doji where our wicks would be probably half the size of this. This is considered a long-legged doji. Now, dojis come in all shapes and size. You can have this small body all the way down here representing a gravestone doji. You can have the body all the way at the top, where there's literally no upper wick or close to no upper wick, and that would be considered a dragonfly doji. If you look a couple candles over right here, you have a doji right here with a shorter lower wick than compared to the upper wick here. That just means that the bears are just a little bit more in control of this. Even though there's still indecision in the market, the bears are just holding on just a little bit longer in here. And as you can see, you had that big red next day. But also dojis kind of coming out of trends, they kind of tip your hand. They tip their hand to the trend reversal, right? So you say you have this downtrend here, 3 days of a downtrend, and you have a neutral doji. Well, you get a nice little pop here, even though you kind of gap down the next day, but then you bring it right back. And then again, a little bit more neutrality, but more or less bears are in control because the body's down here. You have that shorter lower wick, and then you have that big red day, but then immediately the trend reverses. Okay, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, there's some indecision up here, especially if you're in a big long upper trend or a big long downtrend, and bam, at the very bottom, you have that nice doji, either a gravestone or you have that dragonfly doji or even just a regular doji. It kind of gives you, it kind of tips their hand a little bit, like, okay, we're consolidations coming up here. We have some neutrality, some indecision, not really sure which way it's going to go. It looks like we're due for a pullback. And most of the time that is what's going to happen when you see these. So they're probably the easiest, again, just to kind of recognize because of the shape of their body. It's relatively no body in here. You're more or less just looking at a line. All right. And then again, they come in all shapes and sizes. They kind of just represent indecision and neutrality in the market. So see how many doji candlesticks you can find in your charts this week, and then see how the trend plays out accordingly after those doji candlesticks print. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to check us out on our social media. We have attached the links to our socials in the description, and we also have a trading service if you're interested. There's more information in the description below.